Well, here we go. A massive episode of Dog Turds into Diamonds today. Two huge away games against one of the Championship's form teams, Leicester, who are coming up like a train from underneath the playoff spots, and Norwich City, who are currently in third and looking for automatic promotion. We need two good results here to keep ourselves in the playoff picture and set ourselves up, hopefully, for a really strong end of the season. On top of that, the transfer window has closed. We have made some new additions at the end of the window. Let's get into this and talk all about it. Welcome back to Dog Turds into Diamonds, here with AFC Rushden and Diamonds once again. Yes, we are in our third season in the Championship, of course. We have recovered from our horrible first half of the season. We didn't have enough quality in the squad at the start of the season. Things were looking pretty bleak early on, but we've had a good recovery and we currently sit fifth. We have managed to get ourselves up as high as fourth a couple of games ago. But we are threatening to at least make the playoffs, and if we can have a really strong finish to the season, then maybe we could still dream about automatic promotion. I think that might be a little bit off, but to be honest, I'm kind of resigned to the thought that we're going to have a fourth season in the Championship. I think we've been so inconsistent and we've conceded so many goals that I don't really fancy us in the playoffs, and I'm not convinced that we can be consistent enough to get that second automatic spot. You can see that Blackburn are now top. They are the form team in the league, no doubt about it. They are top of the table, and Derby, who were dominating the league, they are in real danger of not making the automatic spots now. We're going to have to see if we can get ourselves involved in that scenario there. It means we would have to get two good results today, away at Leicester and away at Norwich. Before I talk about all that, though, I want to just fill you in on transfers. We did make some end of the window signings. We did increase the squad size even more. We have signed, I think, more than 20 players this season. It has been kind of a major overhaul of the squad. We signed 4 players here towards the end of the window. We bought in Darius Dotsay. I think I'd actually spoke about him maybe the last episode, didn't I? Darius Dotsay, of course, came in on loan from Derby. He has played a couple of games off the bench. I think he's going to be a really good signing. But there were 3 signings. I think all 3 of them were on the final day of the window. If it wants to just go back from Darius here. There you go. We signed Peter Finnan on loan from Fulham. He is a young striker, 21 years old, and he looks fantastic, doesn't he? He is awesome physically, 6 foot tall, really strong, great stamina, a bit of pace about him, good balance and agility, which goes nicely with his dribbling ability. He's got a little bit of flair as well, but he is a really good finisher with a great first touch. I think if he was better at heading, he would be a superb all-round striker. But his off the ball is really good. Composure and anticipation is pretty good. His decisions leave a little bit to be desired, but I mean, he's a really, really good complete centre forward, and so far you can see he's got 4 in 5 games in the Championship for us. He scored 2 coming off the bench on his debut, and he scored 2 in another game as well. So Peter Finnan has had a really good, strong start, and I think he is going to be a fine player for us to finish off this season. You can see he's worth up to 10 million maybe. We also bought in Ashley Rowland from Brighton. I'm going to be honest, I only did this because he was so cheap. £25,000. He is a defensive midfielder who can also play right back. I think looking at his attributes, he is kind of a specialist defensive midfielder. Really good at marking and tackling, decent enough passing. Yeah, I think for £25,000, I think it was just a no-brainer. He's probably not the best defensive option, being only 5'8", but I mean he's really strong. He's really quick. He's yeah, he's just a really good, solid defensive midfield player. So that is where he's played coming off the bench so far. Maybe not the brightest of starts with a 6.67 average, but again, a really good squad member just to fill out the midfield. I just thought for 25,000 and only 1,600 a week, it was an absolute bargain. And the other player that we've signed is Dario Rogac. Now, if I look down on the right-hand side here, we've also sent some players out. Felix Huddleston has gone on loan to Chesterfield. That because we bought in Peter Finnan. Eddie Little has gone out to Oxford on loan for the rest of the season. His contract is up at the end of the season. And you can see Dario Rogac has gone out to Karabag. That's because we couldn't get him a work permit. But at less than a million, less than 900,000 and £1 million if he hits all his targets, I thought this was a bargain. Have a look at Dario. He's only 18. He only turned 18 in December. Look at this guy for a young... I think he's playing as a deep line forward at Karabag. He's got 4 in 5 games for Karabag. Physically, he looks very, very solid. Very strong. Maybe we can improve his pace and acceleration a little bit. But mentally, fantastic. Brilliant off the ball. Brilliant decisions. Very determined. Very brave. His anticipation and composure are very good. So he's going to put himself about in the box, get in there, put his head in there where the danger is. And his first touch is just phenomenal. His dribbling is good. His finishing needs improving, but it's not too bad. And his heading the same. And his passing is decent as well. For an 18-year-old, I think he looks an absolute superstar prospect. I think we've got an absolute bargain here. The only downside of it is he's only got a £5.5 million release fee clause, which if he does well, I mean, he could have a lot of clubs looking at that as an absolute bargain. But yeah, I think next season, I think playing at Karabag the rest of the season and hopefully scoring a lot of goals, hopefully he'll have no problem getting a work permit for next season. So expect Dario to be an absolutely fundamental part of the team in the future. Absolutely fantastic. Right, so on to Leicester. If we go and have a look at our schedule, since you were last here, what did we do last time you were here? We beat Burnley 4-0, didn't we? We then played Preston at home and beat them 6-3. Again, a concerning game considering the amount of goals that we concede. We were the better team, as the scoreline would suggest. Really, really nice to score so many goals that they don't all fit on the same page. Salah Lalafi started things off with a penalty. Guante, who has been really, really good, Luciano Guante, he's got 10 goals in his first season, most of that playing off the left wing. A really good, solid first season for the Argentinian. Really pleased with him. So he got the second goal after only 8 minutes, and Preetz then made it 3-0 with a header on 19 minutes. They got one back before Guante made it 4-1 just after half-time. And then the game got a little bit silly. They got a penalty from Kavanagh. Finnan came on for Lalafi, scores on his debut, 5-1. 5-2. It then went 5-3 when Craig Hislop scored. And then Finnan again in injury time to make it 6-3. An emphatic win. And it was that victory that really got us involved in the playoffs. It really great to get ourselves into the playoff spots again. We then went away to top of the table Derby, and looking at the result, you would think we were terrible. We weren't. We were the better team in this game, apart from our XG. We had more possession, more pass percentage completed, more shots, as many shots on target. It was a good performance, but look at the player ratings. Absolute disaster. Sanisalo in goal, terrible. Igor Luiz at right back, terrible. Nolan at centre-back, really poor. Parkin in the midfield, really poor. Lalafi was just anonymous up front. It was just a really, really poor performance, but at the same time with decent stats. It was kind of an odd one. They only had a 1.14 xG but scored 4. It was a very frustrating game. I was really hopeful that we could put in a good performance against Derby, but in the end they ran out comfortable winners. Now, that is only our second defeat in quite a while, only our third defeat of the calendar year. So in that sense, we are on decent enough form. We're unbeaten in our last 4, but you can see there are a couple of draws in there. Our away form has not been great. If we look at our away games, we've lost one there at Birmingham, beaten Charlton away. Maybe you don't count the away game at Chelsea, beat Burnley away, then we lost away at Derby, drew away at Sheffield Wednesday. We're inconsistent, I think you can say, away from home. We did beat Brentford though, which was great. Beat Brentford at home. It was important to get back to winning ways after losing to Derby. A really good performance. They were probably lucky to get 1 goal and make it a nervy last 5, 6, 7 minutes. But we played all right here. We've had Apaya back in the team since coming back from the Africa Cup of Nations. He did really well in this game. Rodriguez at right back was great. Parkin back on form with an assist for Guante and a goal from Salah Lalafi as well, which was nice to see, assisted by Jack Evans. So yeah, back to winning ways here. It was then a draw at Sheffield Wednesday, and again, it's kind of been the story of our season that we've given up goals in games that maybe we could have won. Here we were probably slightly the better team. Maybe a draw, looking at the stats, maybe a draw's a fair result, but it was still frustrating. Finnan started here. We rested Salah Lalafi. Finnan got both of our goals, and you can kind of see, apart from Finnan, Weston Spence, who got an assist for the first goal, and Rodriguez, it kind of wasn't, again, a great performance in terms of player ratings. Kind of a frustrating one. So yeah, a 2-2 draw, and these are the games that you really have to be winning if you want to get an automatic promotion spot, I think. We then beat Wigan 2-1 at home. Again, a similar story. Much the better team, but they got a late goal that made it a little bit nervy. The great thing here was we had Anthony Johnson back. He has just won the Africa Cup of Nations with Nigeria. Fantastic for him. He was out with that long-term injury at the start of the season. He didn't come back before going off to the Africa Cup of Nations. He came back fit and firing and an Africa Cup of Nations champion. Absolutely fantastic to see. And he scored a penalty in this game. He's got 7 in 14 in the league this season. He scored the penalty that won the game in the end, and it was Guante got another goal off the left wing before that. And our final game before we come to Leicester, at home against West Brom. They're a very, very good team, but 11th in the league. I was hoping for a good performance and get the result. We had more possession, we had more shots on target, a better XG. But again, looking at the stats, you kind of probably have to say it was a fair result. Again, we're just too inconsistent. There's some good performances in there, but then you look at Igor Luiz, Marti, Guante. There always seems to be some performances that let us down in every game. We went ahead in this with an absolute worldie from Dylan Jones. I'm going to show you that. And then Anthony Johnson scored again in the 75th minute, I thought, to win us the game before they equalised in the 90th. It was another one of these games where a 90th minute highlight starts and you already know what is going to happen. Yeah, the 90th minute equalisers in FM22. They're a little bit too regular for my liking and a little bit too predictable. But have a look at this Dylan Jones goal, because if this doesn't win goal of the season, I will eat my hat. So a corner cleared away, Weston Spence out to Jones on the left wing. How about that? Absolutely incredible. Deserved to be a goal that wins a game. But McGlade, you can see, just waltzed through the defence not long after. But here in the 75th minute, I thought it was done and dusted when Anthony Johnson got his second in 2 games since coming back from the Africa Cup of Nations. But for some reason, Alpoim was totally unmarked at the back post in the 90th minute to head them an equaliser. Very, very frustrating. So on to Leicester then. They have been, I mean, they just had a diabolical start to the season, didn't they? When we played them, we beat them 1-0, of course, when we were playing at home, and they were much the better team, but just couldn't hit the target, and we were kind of very, very lucky to get away with that. It was a live com game. And at that point, they looked like relegation candidates. But something happened in December. They started to get their act together. You can see they went all of December unbeaten, all of January unbeaten. They actually won all of their games there. And they have lost a couple of games recently. But basically, since December, they have been automatic promotion form. I am really terrified that if we make playoffs, we might have to play this Leicester team. I think today is going to be a real struggle because, as you are going to see, I am rotating things. We played just 3 days ago. We've got some really tired players, and in just 4 days' time, we then go away to 3rd place Norwich. So I am rotating things for this Leicester game, and I'm really worried that that could come back to bite us. They have had an extra day's rest. They played a day before us, so they are probably going to be full strength here, and they are just 5 points behind us. They are up just 2 points off the playoff spots, which the fact that in November they were down in the relegation zone, I mean, it just tells you just how good they have been. So let's go forward, let's get into this, and let's see if the boys can pull out a good performance in the first of today's 2 games. Here we go then. Leicester away. Norwich are already playing. They're 1-0 up at West Brom. We really need West Brom to pull out a result there for us. We could do with pegging Norwich back and us getting the win. If Norwich were to, let's say they drew 63 points, we could go to 58 with a win. So yeah, we really don't need Norwich winning that game. Hopefully West Brom can follow up their late draw against us by getting a result there as well. But it's not looking good right now. Let's get into this. Let's talk about all the changes we're making for today's game, because I've got to have the strongest 11 fit for Norwich. Virginius is in their team, who's always caused us problems. Avero is a Manchester City loanee who's been doing very well for them. Ruckus is also having a very, very good season for them. Top goal scorer and most assists. 7.22 rating for the season. Yeah, they are going to be very dangerous. They really are. So we are going to have to be on it, but we are relying on our new squad depth for this game. Now I'm going to change out Ika Marti. He's been poor. Sanisalo has not been great over the last few games, but really neither of these goalkeepers has really cemented their place as the first choice. So with Marti not doing great against West Brom, I am going to bring Sanisalo back in. Rodriguez is going to be the right back because Igor Luiz is a little bit tired. Darius Dotse is going to start at centre-back. That is because Apaya is very tired. He has come back from the Africa Cup of Nations. He needed a rest when he came back. We gave him a week off, and then he's basically played every game since. He is far too tired to play this game and then Norwich. So I'm going to bring Darius in for his first start for AFC Rushden Diamonds. Hermes Rodriguez, he is getting a little bit tired. But again, I just can't afford to drop both my centre-backs for the same game. And Sabe is going to come in at left-back. That is because, again, Dylan Jones is pretty tired. The midfield, we're going all change as well. Roland is going to start as the defensive midfielder. I'm actually going to change that in a second after I submit the team. And Preetz and Edwards. So that is kind of 3 kind of ball-winning midfielders all playing together for this game. There's not a lot of creativity in that midfield, but don't know, maybe that can help us just to dominate physically, maybe. Jack Evans is going to play on the right, Wante is going to play on the left, and Salah Lalafi will start up front. Now on the bench we've got Igor Luiz, Weston Spence, who you can see is tired, he needs a rest. Parkin the same, he's a little bit more tired than Weston Spence. Josh Steffen, do you know what, I'm going to change out Josh Steffen, the American. I'm going to change him out for the Benfica loanee Jose Santos, because Jose Santos can play anywhere along the front line, so just a little bit more versatility there. Johnson, Anthony Johnson, 2 goals in 2 since coming back from the Africa Cup of Nations. Again, I just want him fully fit for Norwich, so he starts on the bench. Mavadidi on the bench, and Peter Finnan on the bench after starting the last 2 games. That is the side we're going to put out. So not in the squad, Dylan Jones, Ika Marti, Josh Steffen we spoke about, Moreno not in there. Brian Nolan, I'm just going to allow to leave now. I'm not going to use him anymore this season. Apaya, you can see, just struggling with his fitness. So let's have him fit for Norwich. And then Gomez also not involved with the new signings we've made in defence. Gomez has had less opportunity, which is a little bit harsh, because he's had another decent season, but that is how we're going. And I can't do it. Oh, too many low knees. I am kind of relying on low knees, so I can't really complain. We've got to leave Jose Santos out then, haven't we? Josh Steffen comes back in. That is a real shame. So we lose a little bit of that versatility, but never mind. We will cope with it. So you can see we're making 7 changes from the West Brom game. And yeah, I'm not convinced that we're going to be able to deal with a team of Leicester's quality with those 7 changes. But it has to be done. It has to be done. I'm just going to hope that these guys can pull out a performance and really come up with the goods for us. So yeah, come on. The pressure's all on them. Go out and cause an upset. Let's see if they can. I mean, it would, to be honest, be an upset, even though we're higher placed than them in the league. I'm not going to motivate Salah Lalafi because I really like the green motivation we've got going on elsewhere. So I'm going to stick with that for the team talk. I've got to change roles here. Sorry, not Jack Evans. He's going to stay as a winger. Let's get him marking the left back. It seems like in that wide forward position, winger seems to be the most effective role in this year's FM, even if the player is more suited to another role like a playmaker or an inside forward. Just seems to be that wingers just seem to work. So right, what do I do here? I'm gonna make Edwards a Carrilero, just shuttling up and down this right hand side, supporting Evans on the outside there. Preetz as the midfielder. Roland is going to be a ball-winning midfielder, which is his best role. And that is kind of, I don't know, let's have Roland marking their number 10 as well, actually. Let's get him pressing hard. Can I change that? No, I can't. Okay. And let's have Dotse specifically man marking the striker Daniel Avero, who is very, very dangerous. Let's get into it. Again, we have not been good away from home for a while, and this does not seem like the game where we're going to turn that around. When we concede goals, we are absolutely porous. We are like a colander. But I'm hoping, just through luck more than anything else. I was hoping until inside the first minute, Ruckus put them ahead. That is appalling. Absolutely appalling. Terrible, terrible marking. Ruckus gets away and taps in at the back post. And it's the worst possible start. And I'm not surprised, but at the same time I'm disappointed. Let's encourage the players, see how they respond. They seem to like that. Reading beating Plymouth, who are also going for the playoffs, and we have been really poor. I'm going to have to change things up here. This is not working early on, but we do have an attack here, and Edwards coming forward finds Lalafi, and he's hit the post, and he can't put in the rebound. I don't believe it. That is terrible. Right, what do I change here? How has Lalafi missed that? He's the second top scorer in the championship. And he should have tucked that away with ease. He really should. But we are not looking good here. And Leicester stroking it around. Cut out by Rodriguez there. Can we make something of this? Evans. Even though what is Evans? He's 6'4". He couldn't do anything with it when that ball came to him in the air. And now Roland gives away a penalty. This is a disaster. I'm going to change things up here before we carry on. I'm going to be a little bit more direct. We're going to have to start overlapping. Hit early crosses, play with a bit more width. I'm just changing everything up. Distribute quickly, and here we are going to start pressing and we are going to get stuck in. And it's really just see if that has any effect. This one looks like it's gone. I was expecting it, but well, Sanisalo makes a glorious double save. That is incredible. I was not expecting that. What a double save from Sanisalo, and he's kept us in it. And let's berate the players here. And I mean, we've now had 2 shots at goal, but really it's not much consolation, is it? Maybe things have improved a little bit, but we are going to have to be much, much better in the second half because we have been really poor. I am going to throw the water bottle. Some of them don't like it, but I think it's absolutely fair. Don't say not pleased with me, but right, we've got most of the players on side. Let's see if we can have a better second half. I've got attacking changes on the bench. We've got firepower. We've got Anthony Johnson on the bench. We've got Parkin on the bench. We've got Mavididi on the bench. We've got options. Just hopefully the players that are out there can do it. We nearly get in with Lalafi. Wante looking for him, but now they will break. And look at that again. Ruckus completely free, and Rodriguez is now going to be sent off. I do not believe this. Oh dear, and you have to think that that just spells the game over. So let's have a look here. Roland can play right back. So he is gonna play in there. Yeah, he's fine with that role. Oh, what do I do here then? Edwards has been booked, not playing great. Cedric Preetz is tired. I think I'm going to bring on Weston Spence, and I'm going to make him a deep line playmaker on defend. So that'll be the change for the moment. I think we've probably got to accept that it's gone. But I don't know, maybe we can hope for a miracle. I'm going to encourage the players. Can they come up with something here on the break maybe? West Brom are drawing with Norwich. They are doing us a favour. Brentford, who are going for playoffs, are winning. And now Ruckus is going to plan to give Roland a hard time now that he's got Rodriguez off the pitch. And this looks like it could be 2. It is. It's game over. We are out of this one. And a shocking performance, you have to say. But Leicester are very, very good. I don't think we are far off being a promotion contender for next season now. I think with the players we've bought in, I think the squad does look strong. But there are still some areas that we do need to sort out for next season. I think the defence needs a total rejig. I'm still looking for that next level goalkeeper. And I think a dominant midfielder is severely missing. With Alex Baker leaving, it has really left us short in midfield this season. We haven't had the player that has been able to just control games. As they head one just wide off the corner, we're probably lucky to get away with that. Let's make changes. The game has gone. I think we'll give Guante his rest, get Sean Mavididi in there. He will come on as an inverted winger. And do you know what? I've just realised I never made Weston Spence the deep line playmaker. I left it as Edwards. Who else can come in here? Let's rest Rodriguez. I'm really just thinking of the next game now. We'll get Igor Luiz in there at centre back, and that just allows the majority of the players that I want to start the next game to be there on the pitch, to be there fully fit for Norwich rather, by not being on the pitch this game. Oh dear. 2-0. If we can get one back here, there's maybe a little glimmer of hope, but that is an appalling pass from Rowlands. He's had an absolutely terrible game, playing a 6.0, and we're now going down to 9 men. Oh my word. Oh my word. Right. Let's play with a back three here. It's just damage limitation at this point. We'll play with a back three. Rowland as a wide centre back on defend. And we'll put Mavididi on support down that wing, and I'm going to take off to get stuck in, and we're going to drop that line of engagement right back. Just try and settle for what we've got here, a 2-0. It's been an absolute disaster, and yeah, you can see the team is not right. The team is not right. We have done really well to improve things and be up in the playoff spots after the start we had at the start of the season, but overall the team is not quite right. It's just missing that little bit of quality in key areas. We really need a top class centre back for next season, a better goalkeeper. Burnley drawing with Brentford, which helps us. That's good. Yeah, this is, I'm clutching at straws really. Evans, awful pass for Lalafi, who wasn't even trying to get in behind there. And yeah, it's just been overall a really poor performance, hasn't it? Really disappointing. I'm just trying to think of changes away at Norwich. When we play the top sides, especially away from home, we are really vulnerable. We concede so many goals, and that comes from that left back area where we've got nobody right now. I guess I can't really complain too much about that. I am going to berate the players, however. Ruckus he's torn us a new one today, hasn't he? Let's be honest about it. He's absolutely torn us a new one. He's torn us apart. Oh dear, 3 shots on target the entire game. What an abysmal performance. And here they go again. And I'm guessing we concede another goal here because we just look incapable of defending. There you go. Never let it be said that Football Manager is predictable, huh? There are certain plays that you can just tell are going to finish in a goal, and that was one of them. When there's a decent little spell of possession, it normally spells a goal. And yeah, Berrio was just absolutely free on the edge of the box there, wasn't he? Let's just make a change here, just regroup without the ball. And I think this might be what I'm going to look to do against Norwich, even though I don't like it as a strategy. I think it might be necessary. And Jamie Weeks, our ex-player, oh my goodness, our ex-player Jamie Weeks, I don't think he's going to have an easier day's work the rest of the season. He's not been troubled at all at the back, and we are just at 6s and 7s now as they make it 5-0. Absolutely awful. Let's berate the players again. And let's just try and get out of dodge with a 5-0. Oh, I don't want any more highlights, Football Manager, please. It's been enough. It has absolutely been enough, Football Manager. Down to 9 men, still plugging away, but we lose it again. Salah Lalafi up front has been absolutely abysmal. Don't expect to see him starting against Norwich. Oh my goodness. He's not got hold of anything all game long. He's had an inconsistent season. He's second top scorer in the championship. And at the same time, he's I think he might be under a 7 rating for the season. Just tells you how inconsistent he's been. Absolutely appalling performance. Throw the water bottle. I don't care if you're demotivated. That is an absolute shocker. Let's make some tweaks to the system. Let's go forward to the Norwich game and let's see if the first choice 11 can do a better job of things. See you very shortly. Right then, Norwich away. They are 8 points ahead of us. We are 9 points behind second place Derby. Blackburn look like they are going to wrap the championship up now. And if we lose this game, we could end the day outside of the playoff places again, which would be horrible. Now, we do have a pretty nice run into the end of the season. We've got Blackburn at home on the penultimate day. But that aside, we kind of don't have the toughest run in. So I've got confidence that after getting this game out of the way, we can get the job done and make sure of at least a playoff place. But getting a result here would really, really help. But they are a very good team. This is a Norwich team which, as their position and their points total would suggest, are good enough to go up to the Premier League. They are a very, very tough team. But it was our home game against Norwich where we got a 0-0 draw, which kind of kick-started our good run of form and kind of kick-started us competing this season. So I'm really hoping that we can have a similar performance today. And this is the team that I'm going to put out. Ika Marti is going to come back in. And like I say, we don't have a first-choice goalkeeper. Nobody has made that position their own this season. But I think they haven't been given enough help by the defenders. And we're going to see today if this defensive lineup can do any better than the back four that went out against Leicester. Igor Luiz at right back. Apaya and Rodriguez will be the centre backs. Rodriguez had a brilliant start and is now rated below a 7. So he's on a really poor run of form. Dylan Jones at left back. Preetz and Parkin in the midfield with Weston Spence. Preetz will be that defensive midfielder. And then it's Anthony Johnson coming in on the right. Mavididi on the left. He hasn't had much opportunity with Guante's form this season, but I am going to bring him in for today just to change things up after that disastrous last game. And Peter Finnan will be the striker, again with Salah Lalafi being so inconsistent. Second top scorer in the championship with a rating of under 7. That just tells you how poor he's been in the games he hasn't scored in. On the bench, Darius Dotse, Gomez, Jose Santos, Jack Evans, Guante and Lalafi. What a front three that we could bring off the bench. I mean, that really is a top-class front three for the championship. Hopefully, we're not going to need them, but we'll see how it goes. Let's get into this, and I'm going to make a couple of tactical tweaks. Let's just have a look here what we are going to do to try and give ourselves the best possible shot against a class Norwich team. Can we put in what would need to be our best away performance of the season and get something out of this game? Let's have a look here. So before I do the team talk, into tactics, what I'm going to do today is I am going to regroup in transition. And I'm going to distribute quickly. I'm going to leave it at that for now. But I'm just counter-pressing. We just seem to get played through really, really easily. So I'm going to regroup. I don't like doing it. But again, playing against one of the best teams in the league, I feel like what we've been doing is not going to work. That has been proven. So Mavididi marking the right back. Johnson marking the left back, and this is certainly a much stronger team than we put out against Leicester. We knew it was a risk against Leicester, but I think it was the right decision just in terms of keeping players fresh. Right, so they're not playing with an attacking midfielder. I should have checked that or should have looked at that before. Apaya We are going to set up to mark their striker. And the only other tweak I've made in recent weeks, I've now got Parkin playing as an attacking playmaker, an advanced playmaker, just to try and sort of get him involved a little bit more with a few more runs to break lines. Now let's have a look. Go out and cause an upset? No, let's show everyone what we're all about. We have not been good enough away from home against the best teams. We haven't really been good enough against the best teams all season, home or away. But I am really hoping that we can pull out a big performance today. It would be necessary to keep Norwich close to us, but to also really set ourselves up going into the final run-in. And for the second game running, we have conceded with the first shot of the game. We conceded in the first minute at Leicester, and we've conceded in the second minute at Norwich. That is absolutely appalling. We have conceded loads from set pieces this season. I really don't know what more I can do. We've got some huge players in the team. But, yeah, we are very, very vulnerable on set pieces. Finnan now. So his first appearance in a live comm. Jones, can he get a cross in? He can. And it's Finnan who heads over. I think that was Finnan. So things starting to settle down perhaps now, as we get a long old pause before that highlight comes up, and Norwich instantly win it back off us. And are they going to build or are they going to go long? They're going to build, and yeah, this is not looking great. We might have to rethink regrouping on the transition, because we are going to give possession up to their defensive midfielder and allow them to really build, and they are really enjoying a lot of space and time here. And it's a really nice move, and we are once again behind. That is, this might be the worst ever episode that I have recorded in Dog Turds into Diamonds. We have just been stuffed 5-0 at Leicester, and now we are an absolute shambles at Norwich. This is absolutely terrible. At this point, I really don't know what else I can change. This has been going on all season. I kind of feel like I've just got to accept we're not good enough. What I'm going to do is we're going to start playing into space, and we're going to shoot on sight. That aside, what else can I do here? I'm just absolutely lost for ideas at this point. I really am. Out against the teams outside of the top 6, we have had a decent season. We've turned things around, and that is why we are still in the playoff picture. But against the very best teams, I mean, we have just been played off the pitch. But if you look here statistically, we've had 3 shots to their 5. They are now starting to dominate. With the changes I've made, it actually hasn't helped us at all. And this is a really poor first half. But we've got a corner. Can we get one back? We can't. Again, absolutely abysmal. A really, really poor performance. We've got the players motivated at least. I think it's time to change back to the counter press. Yeah, it's just whatever I do, I can't seem to get any defensive stability away from home, and certainly not against the best teams. I really don't know what else I can change. Is it just a case of we are not good enough at the back, and that is it? Appiah is playing a 6.4, Rodriguez playing a 6.4. We've just not been good enough. What else can we do here? I'm going to make some changes here with half an hour to go. Let's let this highlight play out first. We start with the ball, but as we know, that is no guarantee that something positive is going to come out of the highlight. Jones into Mavididi. Oh, a very stuttering performance there. Weston Spence. We've still got the ball. We have made it to their box. Are we going to produce anything here? Mavididi, who I was just about to take off because he's been playing a 6.1, has just headed us back into the game. Can we save this now? Can we get something out of this? We need more of this now. We're playing a really good Norwich team. And we have now given ourselves a lifeline. Can we build on this? Can we get something more? And I'm going to hold off shouting as we get straight into another highlight now. Can we do the same again? Finnan flicks it on for Anthony Johnson and he's blasted over the bar. I don't believe it. Come on, boys. Come on, let's have some more of this. Come on, it is looking better now. And this is the frustrating thing. I've made changes because the counter press wasn't working. We weren't creating chances. As soon as I change back to that now, we are starting to get on top in this game. And that is really, really frustrating. Now, what can I do? I'm going to start overlapping and let them be more expressive again. And let's just see if we can get something else out of this. I am going to make the last of my tactical changes with a few substitutions. We are very, very tired. I'm going to take off Preetz. I'm going to get Jose Santos in. And we're going to play with the Trecatista. And I might have to start doing this now for the rest of the season. Weston Spencer's been really poor. But what other options have I got in the midfield? I don't really have any. I might have to just run the legs off him. Mavididi is really tired. I'm going to change him up for Guante and make him a winger. And I guess with Finnan playing a 6.5, we're going to ask Salah Lalafi to come on and get us a goal. Let's just see if there is anything in this game for us with 15 minutes to play. 3 changes and they get a free kick. It's cleared away. Johnson gets a hold of it and we're on the break. Nice ball into Santos. And why didn't he shoot? Johnson gets the crossover and Guante has equalised. What a comeback. And you have to say, with the changes in the second half, we've really turned it around. The first half, we were an absolute shambles. And I am just going to make a little tweak here. Lovely setup from Johnson, and Guante gets another goal. He's had a really solid first season for us. I'm just going to make a couple of tweaks here. Just now that we've got something to protect. Now, I'm going to take a Pyre off specifically marking because they're number 10. No, they're not playing with a number 10, are they? Of course they're not. So I don't want to change up his marking responsibility. I want him to stay on their striker. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take those overlaps off and I'm going to stop being expressive. That aside, I mean, we do now have something to play for. I'm going to leave defensively. I'm going to leave things the way they are. I might just get stuck in. I'm going to get stuck in for the last few minutes. I mean, is there even a winner in this for us? You have to say we're absolutely in the ascendancy here. It's been a great comeback. I'm going to encourage the players again. Guante has picked up a knock, a bruised foot, and they get a corner. I don't believe it. Another set-piece goal against us. That is absolutely appalling. And after working so hard to get back into it, we are once again behind, straight into another highlight. Come on, boys. Oh, the long ball from Guante, absolutely terrible. And we can't win it. Why did we? Rodriguez did not even compete for that ball. He has his first 3-4-5 games. He looked absolutely fantastic. He has since been absolutely abysmal. He's been a terrible signing. He has ended up not being the defender that we thought he would be to really come in and help us out. I'm going to go more direct, be expressive, get the overlaps going again. And we are now just going to full out press. And Norwich, after we came back into it and now finishing the game as the stronger side again, which is really, really annoying. The corner comes to nothing. Is there something here for us? Come on. Come on, boys. One more highlight, Football Manager. Come on, one more highlight for us. Please. Oh, what a horrible way to lose it. And are we out of the playoff places with that? I'm going to tell them we're training tomorrow. After fighting so hard to come back into it. And we've been done by 2 set-piece goals. Really, really shocking at set-pieces this season. We've got enormous defenders. We've got some really tall midfielders. And yet at set-pieces, we are just so vulnerable. We've got players with great jumping reach. We've got aggressive players. But it's just been a problem all season long. And there is something in our setup that is just not working. And I cannot get figured out. Very, very frustrating. And do I persevere with Hermes Rodriguez? He has now played a 6.3 there. I mean, Philip Apayo was a 6.2 as well. He's 6'4" with great jumping reach. Not very good in the air. I don't really know what I do now. I think the fact that we are so vulnerable against the very best teams just really tells you that going into the playoffs, we just cannot expect to be able to get results against those teams, especially not away from home. And I think automatic promotion is just out of the question now. I think we would have to win every single game from now until the end of the season, which I can't see us doing. But again, with the supposed ease of our final fixtures, I am still confident that we can make those playoff places, but I'm kind of resigned to a 4th season in the Championship, which is going to be really disappointing. It's you kind of feel that it's starting to stagnate, but I think we've got the starts of a very good squad for next season. I think we've got a squad that can become a challenger next season with the right signings. If we get that proper Alex Baker replacement in the midfield and rejig the defence and find a goalkeeper. If we can do those things, I think we've got a chance next season. Derby are now out of the automatic spots, which is incredible, and Leicester have now gone above us after beating them. Leicester are absolutely the form team that nobody wants in the playoffs. We're still there on goal difference, but Sunderland and Portsmouth on the same points. Brentford and Middlesbrough just 2 points behind. Reading just 3 behind. This is, it's not the best. We have got to turn this around now. And, I guess we are probably going to be back for Blackburn at home on the penultimate day of the season. If our season dies out, if we can't stop this slide and our season dies out, I might not even do that. I might just come back for the end of season review. But if we are in the playoff spots and things are going all right, we might come back for Blackburn on the penultimate day. How long is Wante out for? Only 3 days. That's not too bad. Yes, we did slam the team. Let's have a look at the games we've got to end the season now. So there are still a number of games to go. It is still pretty savable at this point. Plymouth at home, Millwall at home. I would expect to beat both of them. QPR are in the relegation zone. We should fancy our chances there. Ipswich at home I expect to beat. We could win our next 4 in theory. Bristol City away is going to be a tough one. Portsmouth at home, Middlesbrough away are both going to be tough as well, as will Reading at home. I think those 4 games are probably going to be the key games in terms of making the playoffs. Then Huddersfield away and Sunderland away. Sunderland are again, they're not that far behind us. That is going to be a tough final game of the season as well. I hope we can have playoffs wrapped up before we get to Blackburn there. But at the moment, the plan will be that if there is anything still on the line, come back for Blackburn at home, Sunderland away to wrap the season up. But yeah, we have certainly got to get a hold of things now. We're conceding far too many goals. It's been a while since we kept a clean sheet. Our goal difference is now worse than the other teams in the playoff spots. Yeah, we've got some work to do. We've got to try and find a system that works. I think we might be going back to the Trecatista system. Let's see what we can do. And I mean, I'm so frustrated with Salah Lalafi. 17 goals, only Trevor Fonseca ahead of him in the championship this season, but he's rated less than a 7 average. I mean, what more can I do to try and get a performance out of him? But there you go. Things looking very tight at the top now. Blackburn, you have to think, are going to get that automatic spot. But Norwich and Derby looking pretty good in that battle for second place. Derby having a little bit of a fall off. But I don't think any of these other teams are going to challenge them. I think it's Norwich or Derby for the second automatic spot. And we have just got to win those games, not lose against the teams around us, and try and pull this one out of the fire. I will see you for that end of season, hopefully against Blackburn and Sunderland. If you've enjoyed it, drop a like on it. I've no idea how you could possibly have enjoyed it, but drop a like on it if you have. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.